Welcome to the Operate Intelligently podcast. I'm your host, Brian McDonald at Dude Solutions. Today joining me is Forrest Cooper, who's a sales manager of technology solutions here at the Dude. Forrest, welcome.
Hey, Brian, thanks for having me.
Forrest and I are going to talk a little bit about maximizing engagement in your IT department. And first of all, I wanted to give Forrest an opportunity to give a little background on what he's done and what he does here at the Dude.
Yeah, great. So I've actually been here at the Dude for coming up on 5 years now. My background is actually in technology and network security. And really, even before coming to the Dude, had the opportunity to work with a lot of folks in the public sector. But over the past 5 years especially, had a great opportunity to travel the country, work a lot with our clients and my peers in the technology realm to just fully understand the needs that are out there and kind of the growing trends.
So when we talk about maximizing engagement, I think where you got to kind of start is, what are the priorities that IT professionals are seeing this year? And I was wondering if you could kind of give us some information on that, on what you're seeing in the market.
Sure. So really there's, a lot of priorities that are going to always stay the same. Things like continually keeping, a focus on data security, maintaining consistent levels of service for our customers, and really trying to find the best ways to do more with less, especially in the public sector. But I feel like IT professionals are really just getting more priorities to focus on and really having to stack rank those. So, most recently, what I've been seeing a lot of is them looking for ways to become more effective with prioritizing things like their daily tasks, their ongoing projects, promoting better collaboration across their organization is a big call for that, really across the country. And then ultimately just trying to have more meaningful interactions with their customers, their teams, and even their managers or leadership.
So you mentioned better prioritization. So how do people go about achieving that?
Sure. Well, first of all, prioritization is a really big thing, and it means a lot of different things to a lot of people. So there's a lot there. But our blog series really focuses a lot on really the impact of engagements and transparency and communication with their customers to really fully understand their roles and the work they do, the systems they use and why they use them and why that's important, and really just trying to get in alignment with goals and priorities of their end users. There's also that whole squeaky wheel thing where, historically the IT professional's day was really driven by the squeaky wheel, the common offenders or culprits that are having issues with technology. And oftentimes what would be sacrificed was the work that the IT professional really wants to be focused on, what they really want to do. So beyond just keeping the lights on and keeping everything working, they have a lot of other things they'd like to get to and just couldn't. So, really, at the end of the day, when we start talking about prioritizing better and more efficiently, there has to become kind of a paradigm shift where an IT professional knows they have to have data to better prioritize. They have to have data on their customers. They have to understand more about them, but they also have to have data on their own operations. And really what I mean by that is, if you first assess, what's driving the use of your resources, what's really truly absorbing your day and the hours in your day and your team's hours, you're setting a great baseline. But then from there, what types of issues are really driving the use of those resources and how much time are those things taking up? And once you have that data, you can really then start to put a better plan in place and prioritize better on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, even a yearly basis. So really it's, having data not only allows you to be more informed about what work is being done and why, but also show the work that isn't getting done. Be able to justify your needs and make your needs a priority as well, and not just waiting until budget season to go in and say, hey, this is what I need, and I need this to be a priority. We're actually getting ahead of that by proving out with data.
So you're really kind of enabling them to make data-driven decisions in their prioritization and assignments and such.
That's right.
So have you seen a relationship between prioritization and how that impacts the collaboration?
Yeah, collaboration, that's part 2 of the blog series. There's most certainly a relationship here, and it's all interconnected. It's all a systems approach to life, really. Collaboration and communication are challenges in any organization. Even ours here at the Dude, we're constantly trying to think of new ways to collaborate better across departments and to weave everybody in. And there was one show specifically this year we were at. It was COSIN back earlier in the year. that was one of the leading topics. Was collaboration was something that leadership in organizations wanted to see, and really it's just a call to everyone. So, that being said, it really has to start with motivation. People have to be motivated on both sides of the fence to communicate and collaborate, but then we also have to put the right tools in place to help with that. Historically, there have been a lot of barriers in place because different departments didn't understand what the other department did. Customers had no idea what IT departments were doing, and that really drove to a lot of issues around what we call a perception gap, where, where's the IT guy at? Back 20 years ago, it was almost quite comical. I think they even made a Saturday Night Live skit about it.
Yeah, Nick, the company computer guy. Yeah.
That's right. So, where is he at? He's only around when stuff's broken. And I think our facilities professionals we work with can kind of relate for sure. But yeah, so it's, how do we break down that particular perception gap of I don't understand IT, or departments don't understand each other. Leadership has no idea what IT does. They just want to make sure the Wi-Fi keeps working, And that being said, it all kind of goes back to priorities and being able to prioritize and make your needs a priority. It's kind of funny, Gartner, back in 2017, they released a study that was quite comprehensive about really what good looks like in a technology department. And one thing specifically, there was something called a asset inventory maturity scale, where they identified that about 70% of organizations in the public sector were considered reactive in nature when it comes to their inventory processes. And as you can imagine, in schools and in local governments, other types of organizations, that can always lead to a lot of fires, a lot of headaches for an IT professional if you're living in a reactive state. So all that to say, really it was quite eye-opening to see that the organizations who did the best job with being less reactive and more proactive with their processes actually had leadership meetings once a month. So leadership was brought into this. They were collaborating. They were speaking often. They were coming with data to justify their needs, but also to just say, hey, this is what we're doing right now. This is what our focus is. So I think that goes a long way. And even if you're able to use processes or methods to communicate digitally, I think that's something that people are looking for as well. And there's obviously a lot of mechanisms for that, whether it's just email or some other type of tool that you put in place. I think digital communication across a lot of different platforms is enhancing collaboration in organizations.
Yeah, I agree. And when you mentioned that about, maybe the executives only wanting to know that the Wi-Fi is running, I remember many years ago an IT manager saying, all's well as long as nobody's got to call me because the network's down.
That's right.
But that's a perfect example of the reactive mode you were talking about, instead of being more proactive and how do we collaborate, how we enable the different employees within an organization to get the most out of the IT investment the company's made.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. And I think when you start to collaborate better, a lot of things happen. I think, to use another example, there's the skits out there and the jokes about, the IT professional is just going to ask you to turn your computer off and turn it on again, right? Well, there's a point to that. Over 70% of issues with Windows machines are fixed by just restarting the machine, right? So a lot of senseless tickets come across, and they're really not necessary, and they can be prevented and mitigated, so to speak, and cut out a lot of the headaches that an IT professional has. But using data and being able to go back to say, okay, I'm identifying a trend here with this particular person, 5 minutes of training would resolve a lot of the tickets that I'm getting. So we're seeing a lot of success with that. We actually just released a case study on our site that was really kind of highlighting how one of our clients out in Utah was able to really dramatically cut down on their ticket load and their response times by just starting to understand the needs, the training needs of their customers. And they used our technologies to do that, which was pretty cool.
Are you looking for a way to get inspired about your work as a facility or operations professional? Join us at our annual Maintenance and Operations Conference, Dude University in Raleigh, North Carolina, May 5th through 8th, 2019. You'll be able to attend educational sessions about your day-to-day work, meet professionals from across the country that work in your and other industries, and enjoy food, friends, and fun in the Dude's hometown. If you register this year, you can take advantage of our all-inclusive Dude deal. Learn more and register online at university2019.com.
Forrest mentioned blog series, and we will share that out, but it's some really good content that we've written out. But one of the terms you said is creating more meaningful interactions. And, can you explain what that really means and why it's important?
Sure. Having more meaningful interactions it's not what you might think it is. Really, it's being able to have different types of conversations. And when you have more information, when you understand somebody better, it just naturally makes for a better relationship. So kind of going back to that perception gap, that exists on all levels. It could be from an end user or a customer to a technician. It could be from a technician to their manager. It could be from their manager to their manager. And really the meaningful interaction piece just comes down to, I'll use an example. Just imagine having somebody that you manage in front of you and you're trying to tell them how to do a better job and highlight the things they're doing well, but also focus on maybe some of the things they could do better. If you don't have data, if you don't have a strong understanding of really how they're doing and what they could be doing better, it makes a pretty weird conversation. Mm-hmm. And the same thing when you go into, meet with your boss. You want to be able to show what you're doing and highlight what you're doing, but also show off and kind of speak about the things that aren't getting done because you might not have the resources that you need to have, or you may have the wrong resources. It's kind of funny. I speak a lot to folks, and we use the comparison that oftentimes the boss will give you a weed eater to go out to the football field and mow the grass. Yeah. Right? So that's never a good thing. And I think that the meaningful interaction piece just comes from that drive for collaboration, over-communicating, being able to justify your own needs and priorities, but also prioritize your own day better so that you can get to that data and get to that point.
So do you see maximizing engagement in IT departments as a trend going forward?
I do. And, really it speaks to our culture. We really live in an on-demand type of culture that people want things immediately right now, right in front of me. I want the information to come to me. And I think that really just starts with the younger generation, a lot of which our clients are impacting right now in the jobs they're doing every day. I also think that it's going to continue to be a growing trend because we're getting to be an automated society. We want work being done for us as much as possible. We want a low-touch or no-touch approach to anything, so there's just a big call for that. And really that's in complete alignment with our vision here at The Dude. A lot of the work we're doing with our technology suite right now has been inspired by what we've learned as we've traveled across the country, what we've learned from our clients about their needs and really, honestly, with their struggles. So we see some pretty consistent trends from one state to the next. And I think this will most certainly be a growing trend, really that push or call for better engagements, so to speak. Our 12-month vision here at The Dude is people, purpose, and possibility. And people is up top for a reason. And I think being engaged with your people is ultimately the best approach.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I have to, to brag on our IT group. They're fantastic. Mm-hmm. When I need to reach out or I have a question, they're there. They take the time. If they need to explain it or whatever the case may be, it's always a great experience. So I'm glad that we are practicing what we want to tell others to do and being an example and a case study and being able to provide expertise back to them.
So yeah, I would absolutely agree. And really at the end of the day, any situation where we're working hard, even to get 1% better each week or each day with how we communicate or how we collaborate, it's going to accomplish a lot to reduce emotions and to help people better prioritize, to help us have better relationships, both personal and professional, but for today's purposes, really just more professional with your customers and our customers alike. That actually makes me think about a story. We just came out of our annual sales meeting, and we had the privilege of having a client panel where several of our clients from around the Raleigh and Cary area, around the state, attended and were able to speak to our sales team about really just a day in the life. Mm-hmm. And, one story in particular really stood out to me. A private school here in Cary, the director there was telling a story about how she used to come into work every day, just sort of stressed out, wasn't able even to get her coffee before she started with the hallway muggings. People started running up saying, "Hey, are you aware of this? What are we going to do? My face is on fire," and everyone's issue is always going to be an emergency. But since then, it's rolled in processes and a few of our solutions to be able to, get out of bed, have her morning coffee, and really get caught up and up to speed before she even walks in the door. And that's pretty powerful to be able to come in and provide a different level of service, have a different level of confidence when you're facing your customers and you know what's going on. So I think that really says a lot, and it's really inspiring to me because I have over the years spoke to and seen so many folks that are just so entrenched and so reactive that they don't have time to worry about capturing the data that they need, or maybe their bosses haven't started asking them for data yet, or their city manager, their superintendent, they're like, well, they just kind of leave me alone and as long as I keep stuff working. But really, it's sort of a double-edged blade because if you're in that comfort zone and you don't have a process in place to show the work that's getting done and better prioritize, it will eventually come back to bite you. And that sort of paradigm shift is occurring right now as well. And we're really seeing that show itself with some of our clients' testimonials.
Technology makes us work smarter, not harder.
That's right.
And I think that's a great example. And I love the term hallway muggings. I'm going to have to figure out somehow to use that in a conversation. Yeah. But those are great examples. And I want to thank Forrest for joining us today on the podcast to talk about maximizing engagement in your IT department.
Yeah, thanks, Brian.
We'll share out the links to the blog post that Forrest mentioned, as well as if you want to learn a little bit more about our employer value proposition, check out episode 78 of the podcast where we discuss it in detail. And we'll include some of the case studies as well so you can see how other people are doing it. Thanks for listening, and join us on the next episode.
Thank you for listening to the Operate Intelligently podcast. Subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts, leave us a review, and you can even email us at dspodcast@dudesolutions.com.